Diversity in Community X. Catherine Mead, Manorville, New York, 11949. Jelly beans come in lots of colors, lots of flavors, lots of sizes. There is a diverse variety of jelly beans on this page, but when we talk about diversity in Community X, we mean to speak about people. People naturally tend to group themselves and one another into categories. Maybe the categories are about color and size, like these jelly beans, but it can also be about beliefs, language, national origin, sexual preference, even favorite sports team. In the United States, we have a very diverse population. Though our democracy agrees that majority opinion rules for decision making, we also recognize that our diverse opinions make up who we are. Everyone's voice can be heard in our free country, so even those in the minority are allowed to speak up. Diversity is defined by Merriam-Webster Dictionary as the inclusion of different types of people, such as people of different races or cultures, in a group or organization. This group or organization that we are focusing on is Community X, a suburban community in the United States. We've been experiencing an increase in our diversity over the past 20 years, as has the rest of the United States. By this, we mean that Community X has seen an increase in the immigrant population, and this has changed our community. People from different countries, different language groups, different religions, and different cultures have become a part of our neighborhoods, our workforce, and our schools. This has caused some of us to be concerned that we need to take inventory of the resources available to us and to newcomers. How do we meet the needs of so many new people in our community? Well, as educators, we have determined that we can categorize the needs of our new families into these four major areas: language needs for parents, students, staff, faculty, administrators; social needs to facilitate smooth transitions between all groups involved, student to student interaction, for example, parent to teacher interaction, perhaps even the school nurse's interaction with families. To meet this need may require a bilingual social worker on staff, and this may require increased funding and program changes. Next, we have isolated instructional needs. The primary focus of a school is to educate. Evaluating each entering student and finding the correct placement for them is an immediate need of each student to begin instruction. These are tasks that require increased and specialized staffing, and this can be costly. Lastly, we must mention the basic human needs of any student. We recognize that the resources in our school will go toward ensuring each child is healthy emotionally and physically, nourished adequately, and safe in their home. An increase in our student enrollment means that we often need additional support staff to meet this need as well. Though having a newly diverse community in school does mean that we are tasked with finding provision for each new student in our buildings, and this will use some of our resources, these are not the only changes that come with a change in the diversity of our population. Our classroom discussions become enriched and infused with new ideas when we have new students. Our children learn the value of human life, regardless of background, when we have students who are from different places in the world. Our teachers can incorporate hands-on lessons from cultures other than our own with respect to art, music, dance, food, holidays, traditions, etc. We all learn the value of language difference, cultural difference, racial difference, difference in national origin, etc. And we are given the opportunity to teach our children unwritten lessons on giving, acceptance, inclusion, compassion, change, hope, friendship, and love. And these lessons are the lasting ones, the ones that build character and raise up good citizens. Is it natural to resist change? Of course it is. Social and anthropological theorists have studied the brain and its tendency to resist change, but a resistance doesn't mean it's impossible to transition into changes. Because we each manage change in such different ways, it's a good idea to pause here to allow some introspection. Turn to someone near you and ask each other these questions. How do you personally handle change? In your family, at home, at work, in your neighborhood convenience store even. And then also discuss the changes you both have noticed in your local school district here in District X. That may be due in part to an increase in diversity. How have you reacted personally? So let's come back together. I hope you had a meaningful and interesting conversation. Maybe you discovered that you don't always face change with grace. Maybe you uncovered some changes at school that you could handle better. Likely most of you just got started in the conversation, and this is only a good beginning. Still, others of you may have hit on the key to managing change: acceptance. To successfully navigate through the changes that District X has been recently encountering, it's imperative that we accept the change and we accept one another. We demonstrate that through inclusion. Including one another in our group allows us to acknowledge our common goal. And our goal is the same. We want to live in a peaceful and productive community where our children are educated in a safe and healthy environment. The best way to work toward that goal is to shoot way past tolerance and start to recognize and celebrate the benefits of giving one another a boost. To give one another a boost means that we support one another. Each of these groups within our school district X can play a part in working toward our goal. School board members are the policymakers and the ones who make decisions about allocation of funding. If our board members are inclusive and accepting of our diverse population and the changes in our community, then administrators and teachers will have the support and the resources to give the boost necessary to students. Every single stakeholder in our schools, all the way down to students, needs to play a part in including each other in the newly diversified grouping called District X, a district in the middle of changes. But remember, our brains are resistant to change. There will be someone out there who raises the question, why bother? There might be someone else who says, why can't we just go back to our old ways? Or why can't things work the way they used to? It's natural to want to regress to policies that worked in our past. We know how to operate in our old ways. Let's just go back to previous methods that are tried and true, some may be thinking. However, this isn't embracing the present changes or the people that have moved here that have different needs. Instead of being inclusive, our old policies fully exclude people of difference. If we don't adapt and allow for language difference and social or cultural difference, we will miss out on achieving our common goal of success in our schools. We will miss out on teaching our children lessons on kindness with a willing heart to learn about new ways and new places and new people. Maya Angelou said, "We all should know that diversity makes for a rich tapestry, and we must understand that all the threads of the tapestry are equal in value, no matter what their color." This modern poet beautifully expresses that we are all important. If we disregard one another, we lose some of our beauty as a people, as Americans, and as a part of District X. Here are some suggestions from districts that have been in our position before us. Districts that have successfully navigated change have explicitly and intentionally made changes of their own to policies. They have added programs that help. They have done away with programs that don't serve their newly diversified community. Keeping in mind that the goal is to include everyone, it's a good idea to open up new programs with the new demographics of District X in mind. After the presentation ends, I encourage each of you to start talking. What programs can you think of that would include your friends and neighbors? What would help them to be a part of District X in a new way? The suggestions listed here are a good beginning. Certainly, having staff that represents the colors of our new community helps our new students to feel welcome and included. When we hand school literature to new families in their own language, we're letting them know that we care and that we took the time to prepare for their arrival. These programs take planning and time and interested, capable volunteers or workers. Our community is rich with the kind of people necessary for this work, and it's time to get started. And this is just the beginning. Research shows that communities demonstrate their acceptance of the diversity by celebrating it. Perhaps the PTA can plan some events that include art exhibits highlighting art forms from other cultures. Maybe a dinner could include multicultural foods with music sung in foreign languages. Another thought is to have a parade or a talent show that allows dancers and other performers to have a place to showcase their nation's clothing and the movement from different countries. Appreciation for a different culture shows respect. It doesn't mean that we will change our own preferences necessarily, but it means we understand that our way. Before we can overcome our tendencies, we first need to try to understand them, to expose them. The truth is, it's natural for humans to notice when people are different. Listen to this. A study was done in which young children were divided into two groups, each in a different color shirt. Without anyone ever coaching them to feel this way, each child felt that the child wearing the same color as them was nice, and a child in the other shirt color group was not as nice. There are more specifics about how deep and how natural this tendency to notice and react to difference truly is. Even when children were intentionally taught not to notice difference, they still did. Of course they did. They were just taught not to discuss it. What this demonstrates is that we all do notice difference. It's human to notice, and it may even be human to assume that only those that look like us are nice, but we know better. Together, we can make a difference. We can show our children that ethnocentric ideals and this kind of fear reaction to anyone who represents a difference is unfounded. More importantly, by noticing the difference and discussing it, even celebrating it, we can expose bias and move toward solutions for District X.